Yes. Right. So coming to the overdraft balance as per the cash book and overdraft balance as per the passbook. Now, for example, the first transaction over here is right. Checks issued, because the same thing was also being discussed when we were learning. Okay, the balances as per the, I mean, the favorable balances as per the cash book and the passbook. So whenever there is an overdraft, okay, whatever the treatment you give, okay, in the case of an ordinary, it becomes a reverse in this case. So how it is going to happen? Let us analyze the transactions. So checks issued but not presented for payment. Checks issued but not presented for payment. It is rupees 10,000. So first, whenever you read a transaction, okay, you should understand on which side of the book it is first being recorded. Because whenever you read any of the given transactions, or the reasons for the differences, the first thing what we need to look for is in which book it is recorded first. So whenever we look into a transaction based upon the checks issued but not presented for the payment, it is first will be recorded always in the cash book, right? That's the first thing. So okay, if it has been recorded in the cash book over here, so let's see, it has been checks issued to some X. So I'm just writing it as checks issued, so by X. Okay, because whenever you are being provided with the reasons, usually they don't give you the names of the parties, right? So I've just given it as checks issued, okay, but not presented for payment, and the check has been issued to X. So therefore, what is going to happen now in this case? It is first to be shown onto the credit side of the cash book, right?
Cash book. Cash book.
Now, in case if this would have been a favorable balance
Ma'am, your
would
voice
have
is breaking,
decreased.
ma'am.
No, yes,
Now it is breaking too
I
much.
said that is it's breaking too much.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am,
now
it's
as you can
breaking
see
too
on
much.
the
Yes, ma'am.
screen, bad network quality. Can you see? Can you see on the screen? Is it visible? Your network is
No, ma'am.
causing poor call quality. Here it is. Can you see it now? Yeah, now it's gone.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Is it fine now?
No, ma'am. It's breaking.
No, ma'am, it's breaking.
Maybe at your end also there must be some network issues, children.
No, ma'am.
If it is same to everyone else, then definitely and for
It's
some it is
breaking, ma'am.
uh,
Yes,
at
Again,
ma'am.
your
it's
end.
breaking, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, shall I continue? Still breaking? Weather
Yes,
is
ma'am.
also very
Yes,
Yes,
bad
ma'am.
ma'am.
outside, so
Yes,
because of
ma'am.
that reason. Okay, just try to bear with me for some time. If it, I mean, the problem is still continues, and we'll see.
Ma'am,
Okay.
now it's okay.
Okay, now it's okay. Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So, checks issued but not presented for payment rupees 10,000. So, now in case if it is an ordinary balance I'm talking about, okay, the balance decreases in the cash book. Now here we are talking about what an overdraft balance, right? So overdraft balance means what happens? 1 lakh is already there, okay, which I mean we are supposed to pay to the banker, and out of that again we have issued another check of rupees 10,000. So because of which what happens? The balance in the cash book increases. That means now we need to pay to the banker 1,10,000. It is not 1 lakh, but we need to pay 1,10,000. That means our overdraft will increase. Is it clear, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, to everyone. I'll repeat once again. In case if this balance is an ordinary balance, I'll write down here to balance, okay, brought down. Okay, if this is would have been an ordinary balance, what happens to the ordinary balance? From 1 lakh, we are paying 10,000. So the balance decreases. That means the balance will come down to 90,000. So the cash book will be less and the passbook will be more because it is still not presented for the payment. But whereas if this is an overdraft balance, what happens in the case of the overdraft? Because you are further issuing the checks, because of which the cash book will be more and the passbook will be less. Why it will be less? Because still the check is not being presented for the payment. That means there is no further withdrawal from the bank. So that is the reason the passbook shows less. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now coming to the second one. Now what could be the second one? Always checks deposited, but not, okay, collected. It can be checks deposited but not credited, not collected, or checks paid in, okay, or checks received but not deposited. All means the same. So here checks deposited but not collected by the bank. Collected by the bank. Some rupees 20,000. So what happens whenever the checks have been deposited here, we immediately write it on to the
Bank.
debit side of the cash book. So here now the checks have been deposited, so 220,000 onto the debit side. Okay, so when you're writing it onto the debit side, now what happens from 1 lakh, if you have to minus 20, okay, the balance in the cash book decreases. The balance in the cash book decreases. Now because the banker has still not collected the money, okay, the passbook balance is still more. So now you can understand how it is quite opposite to the ordinary balance. Now assume that there is 1 lakh already in the cash book onto the debit side. So 1 lakh to the 1 lakh, if you are adding 20, your balance increases in the case of ordinary. But whereas in the case of the overdraft, the balance always decreases. Is it clear? So to remember it in the simple sense, simple way, okay, as you already know where the balance has to be shown, okay, according to whether it is an ordinary and overdraft. For example, if you are posting a transaction onto the balance side, so here the balance is onto the credit side. So if you are showing something onto the credit side, the balance automatically increases. But if you are showing something onto the opposite side of the balance automatically decreases. This way also you can remember it. But for this also you need to always draw a rough cash book and also a rough passbook to decide whether it is to be added or whether it is to be deducted. I just gave a very simple way of understanding here. Okay, if you are writing anything onto the balance side, now I'm saying it is onto the balance side, okay, the balance automatically increases. And if you're writing anything onto the opposite side, the balance automatically decreases. And this rule can be followed, okay, whether you are going with an ordinary or whether you are going with an overdraft. I hope now it is clear to everyone. Can I have some response?
Yes, ma'am.
All of you.
Yes, ma'am.
All of you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So shall we directly go with the problem now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. So let's see the problem now. And all of you open your PDF. Overdraft balance is on. I think had we completed fifth problem? No, this is a. Yeah, take out the problem number 7. It is actually a very simple problem, but because it is being based upon the bank overdraft, so let us do the 7th one. Problem number 7, all of you. Okay, so on 31st of December, 2006, Raju's cash book. So Raju is the proprietor here. Okay, so Raju's cash book showed bank overdraft of rupees 50,000. So here, first let us change the date. So the date is going to be 31st is December 2006. Okay, so and here this is overdraft as per the cash book. And the amount of the OD here is 50,000. So first we have cash book, then followed by the passbook. Okay, and this is now coming to the add-on list, we'll decide and we'll do it again. Okay, children. So we have a cash book and we also have a passbook, and here the OD has been given according to the cash book. So therefore the overdraft has to be shown onto the credit side. So here onto the credit side we are having 50,000, and the same thing will be shown in the passbook onto the debit side, right? So these are the the balance. So anything you write onto the side of the balance, okay, the balance automatically increases, and if you're writing anything onto the opposite side, the balance automatically decreases. So this is what the concept needs to be, remembered, okay. So now let's see the first one. So on going through the bank passbook for reconciling the balance, we found the following. So the first one is out of the checks drawn. So what is the meaning of checks drawn here? Anyone? Checks drawn.
Withdrawal.
Withdrawal. Very good. And what is the other name for the withdrawal here? Checks drawn.
Issued.
Issued.
Issue.
Issued.
Issue. Yes. So where do we record first if the checks have been issued?
Cash book.
Passbook debit.
Cash book.
Payment.
Cash book. Okay. So out of checks drawn on 26th of December 2006, those for rupees 3,500 were cashed with the bankers on 3rd of January. Okay. Following. So checks have been issued on 26th of December, but those for rupees 3,500 were cashed by the bankers on 3rd Jan. That means before 31st of December, okay, they have not presented this for the payment. So checks have been issued but not presented for the payment before 31st. That is one. And a crossed check for rupees 1,200. Okay, so here Raju has given a crossed check, and he has given the check to Vijay. It was returned by him, and the bearer check was issued to him in lieu on 2nd of January 2007. So here the meaning of the crossed check and the bearer check is, if you are issuing a crossed check, so on the check, right, on the left side top corner they draw two lines. Okay, two crossed lines they will draw, so that if it is being crossed, that means check has to be deposited only in your account. That means you cannot go and withdraw the money by self. But if it is a bearer check, whoever is holding the check can easily go to the bank and withdraw the money. So that is the difference between the crossed check and a bearer check, right? So here the first one is 3,500 has been issued, but it was not been presented for payment, okay, before 31st of December. The second one is Raju has given a check to Vijay, and he has first given a crossed check, that is 1200 rupees, and the same thing has been returned by Vijay, okay, and in lieu of that, what he has taken a bearer check. But all this process has been happening, okay, after 31st of December. So as on 31st of December, what is going to happen? Already there is a issue, even towards what, 1200 rupees. That means the checks have been issued over here, but they have not been presented for the payment. I repeat once again, the checks have been issued over here, but they have not been presented for the payment before 31st of December 2006. So therefore, how we are going to treat this now? Now I have written the following issues onto the balance side. So the balance is onto the credit. So I am writing again 3,500 and 1,200. So because of which, what is going to happen? The cash book is showing more and the passbook is showing less. So remove from your mind whether it is an ordinary or whether it is an overdraft. Just go with the nature of the balance. Okay, we are writing something onto the balance side. Okay, so just remember it as a side now. So because of this, what is going to happen? The cash book is increasing and the passbook is decreasing. So if the passbook is decreasing, what is that we need to do? We need to minus. So therefore, checks, okay, issued but not presented 4,700, right? Then did you all follow? Yes, children?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
All of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma, who is that? Somebody has asked. You want me to repeat it again?
Yes, ma'am.
Who is this? Who is this? Are let me know who is it? Joshi? See, when you ask a doubt, please let me also know your name. Who is this? Komalika, who asked the doubt? Can you identify?
Ma'am, I was not able to see, ma'am.
We're not able to see. Okay, anyone? It is not for any other purpose. I just wanted to know the name. That's it. So if you don't come out with your name, then definitely I'm not going to repeat it. Okay, chalo. Next, cash and checks amounting to. So as you already have seen in the case of 3-column cash book, like where in one problem, when the check is being received from Lakshman, okay, and the same thing has been deposited on a later day. So at the time of deposit, so he is depositing cash plus Lakshman's check into the bank, right? So cash and Lakshman's check. So here also, whenever you deposit, either you can deposit cash or either you can also deposit what? Checks. So what it says here, cash and checks amounting to 4,500 were deposited in bank. So if it is being deposited in bank, immediately first we make an entry of the same in the cash book onto the receipt side. So 4,500 has been shown onto the receipt side of the cash book on 26th of December 2006. But checks worth 1,500 were cleared by the bankers on 2nd Jan 2007. Now this matters a lot for us. So checks worth 1,500 were cleared on 2nd January. That means after 31st of December, okay, they have cleared 1,500 checks. That means how much has been cleared before? Anyone? On 2nd January, okay, checks worth 1500 have been cleared. Okay, so how much would have been cleared before I'm asking? Out of
3,000.
4500.
3,000.
3,000. Okay, so let us not come to a conclusion. So let's continue. And one check for rupees 400 was returned by them as dishonored on a later date. Okay, so here 1500 were cleared by the bankers on 2nd of Jan 2007. So therefore 3000 has already been cleared, right? So now what is the difference here? The difference here is only for the 1500 rupees, not for the 3000, because 3000 is already been cleared before 31st of December, right? So now you can tell me which book is more and which book is less. Yes,
Cash book is
Passbook
less.
is
cash book is
Passbook
less,
is less. Passbook
less.
high.
Yes, cash book is less and the passbook is more. Very good. So now let's see. And there is also one more check for rupees 400, which has been returned as dishonored. So if the checks have been dishonored, we immediately also need to cancel that in the cash book. But this for the, I mean, the intimation for the same has been sent by the banker on 2nd of Jan. So because of which, what is going to happen now? Because of this, as we did not cancel in the cash book, so the cash book was showing more and the passbook was showing, sorry, the cash book was showing. Can anyone give me the answer for this? For the 400 rupees? The effect for the same, I mean, for both is the same. One is 1500, the other one is 400. This has still not been credited by the banker. So 1500 has not been credited by the banker and the 400 rupees check has been dishonored. But the intimation has been sent as on 2nd of January. But the entry is already been made in the cash book. The entry is already been made in the cash book, but it is still not been made in the passbook. So out of this 4500, it includes 1500 and it also includes 400.
Cash book is more.
1 second, please. Think. Now we have written 4500 onto the opposite side. So when you're writing it onto the opposite side of the balance, what happens to the OD? The overdraft in the cash book?
Decreases.
Decreases. And the passbook?
Increase.
Increases.
Increases.
So therefore, checks deposited but not credited. Checks deposited but not credited. So if you want to hear 1500 plus 400. Okay, so in the outer column 1900. The effect will be the same for both. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so coming to the last transaction here, according to standing instructions of Raju. So as Raju is the proprietor here, right? So according to standing instructions of Raju, bankers have on 30th December 2006. Now here it looks very, very lengthy, right? The information what has been provided is too much. Okay, overloading. So let us go with one after the other, one
Ma'am,
line after the
excuse me,
other.
ma'am.
Yes. Yes.
Ma'am, I was not able to listen the previous. Ma'am, there is network issue here. Can you please repeat it again, ma'am?
The previous one was towards, who is this?
I'm not feeling. That's why it's not saying. I'm Neha.
Neha. Actually, Neha, I was discussing about, the checks have been, deposited into the bank. Okay, like, received and deposited into the bank, but the same thing has not been credited by the banker. right? So here 1500 checks worth has been, credited by the bank after 31st of December, and there was also one check for rupees 400 which has been dishonored by the bank, right? So if it has been dishonored, what happens? Immediately we need to cancel it. So forget about all the cancellation. Whatever is happening after 31st of December. So that is what is more important for us. So we should always, go with the date here, right? So now because of this, what is going to happen? As there is a receipt with the cash book overdraft is less and the passbook overdraft is more. And the passbook OD is more by 1500 plus 400, that is 1900. This is what I discussed, Neha. Okay?
Okay, ma'am. I know
Right.
this.
Now
Okay,
coming
ma'am.
to,
Thank you.
yeah. According to standing instructions of Raju, so bank have on 30th of December 2006 paid. Now he's talking about a payment. So the payments will be always to be shown on to the withdrawal side of the passbook. So therefore the bank has paid interest to his creditor. So here 200 has been paid by the bank. Okay. Are you all able to follow? So the bank paid 200 here. So if the bank has paid 200 here, what happens to the balance? The passbook balance will be
Increased.
increased. Now as we are trying to find out the passbook balance over here, so I'm just writing it as 200. I will just put it as 200 here. Later we will write the statement. Is it okay? Because there is too many transactions which needs to be recorded first, and ultimately we can write only one single statement instead of showing it separately, or otherwise you can put it as interest paid by the bank. Okay, just put it as interest paid by the bank. And in the outer column, show it as 200. That's it. Finish it off. Then next we have paid quarterly premium on his policy amounting to 150. Okay. So here the bank has paid again 150 rupees towards the insurance premium. Again the passbook will be more. So here again under additions, put it as insurance premium paid by the that is 150, right? Then next we have and have paid first call of rupees 500 on shares held by him. So again the bank is making a payment towards the call money. So to understand the call money, okay, you need to wait till next year because I cannot get into too much in details about what is exactly means by the first call. That means they have purchased the shares and they need to pay money towards these shares, right? So the bank has paid, okay, towards the same. So therefore it has paid 200, it has paid 150, it has also paid 500. So because of again this 500, the passbook overdraft is more. So if the passbook overdraft is more, okay, we need to add. So first call money on shares paid by the bank. That is 500. Then next we have they have also received. Now again he's talking about the bank itself, right? So the bank has also received 175 as a dividend on shares held by him. Okay, so 175 has been shown as a credit in the passbook. So if you're showing something onto the opposite side of the balance, because the balance is 50,000 and if you're showing 175, the balance automatically decreases. So here the passbook will be less. So here you can write it as Nakuka. Yeah. So because of this, what happens here? The passbook will be less. So here you can write it as dividends collected by the bank. Dividends collected by the bank, that is 175. And recovered an insurance claim. So here there was some damages, and the insurance company has paid the claim towards the same, and the amount collected by the bank over here is 750. So again, if the bank is collecting 750, what is going to happen? As this amount is being written opposite to this 50,000, the passbook overdraft will be less. So again here you just need to show it as insurance recovered by the bank. Okay, the next we have, and their charges and commission on the above being 20. So again, when it comes to the bank charges, it has to be recorded onto the debit side. So because of which, again, the passbook overdraft will be more. So add it. So I think by this time you should be able to know like which book is going to increase, and which book is going to decrease, and whether it is to be added or whether it is to be deducted. Because immediately just you have to look into the opposite book which you are trying to find out. Okay, and accordingly you can decide whether the given amount is to be added or to be deducted. Done. Then next, Mr. Raju made entries in his cash book on 3rd Jan. So all these transactions are already been recorded. Okay, recorded only in the passbook. Okay, as on 31st of December. But the same thing has not been recorded in the cash book, and the entries were made in the cash book only after 31st. So because of which the balance, there is a difference in the balances. Is it clear? So can you just find out what is the balance here? And in the meanwhile, I will take the attendance. అయిపోయింది ఒక్క 1 minute. Okay, so in the meanwhile, please do the balance, children, and I will take the attendance. Roll number 1.
Present, ma'am.
2. I'm calling out the new roll numbers. Yeah, 3.
Present, ma'am.
4. 4.